Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another Q&A, so let's go ahead and knock this out. Alright, first question. I've been getting shoulder pain while benching. I've watched your videos on the bench press and I'm keeping proper scapular retraction, elbows tucked, and I'm pausing on the chest. It's not a muscular imbalance because my rows are stronger than my bench. Is a suicide grip something you'd recommend? Is there another way to work around this pain in the bench press? I can also press overhead without pain. It's just bench that bothers my shoulder. There's a lot of things that could be causing this. No, I do not recommend the suicide grip to get over this. If you have something with your wrist alignment that's causing it, which can very well be the case, that you feel suicide grip removes, that means you need to wrap your wrists up better. Okay, you need to get wrapped up tighter. Get a good set of wrist wraps. Go ahead and dish out the full $20, $25 for a good set of wrist wraps. Like I have a set of 30-inch Titans. All right, this is something you need to start looking at. Maybe you need to figure out what width of grip is causing it. For some people, gripping too wide, particularly for rep work, can cause it. For a few people, close grip can cause this. All right, you need to look at what other exercises you're doing that are aggravating your shoulder. Okay, there's a lot of things that we can do that will aggravate our shoulders. It comes out on the bench press, but it can be our overall fatigue that's doing it. You could just be doing too much bench volume. Again, something to think about. There's a reason we rotate stuff for more advanced lifters the way that we do. There's a reason I run the conjugate. There's a reason we rotate exercises. There's a reason I do very, very little heavy benching. It's just a heavy single once a week. Everything else is totally different grips, barbells, speed work, close grip, board pressing. You're going to have to figure out how to do stuff different. You might need to switch to floor pressing as a main hypertrophy movement after your little bit of heavy benching. You need to wrap your wrists up. You need to, again, start assessing what you're doing that's aggravating the shoulder. It could be the way that you're squatting could be contributing. Maybe you're gripping the bar incorrectly. Maybe you don't have your elbows and things in a good position. You're trying to use low bar squats. And for people who have shoulder pain, the low bar squat is pretty much undoable. You need to cut that silly shit out. Because if you have shoulder issues, you're going to have to high bar. You need to start looking even at different barbells potentially, but you need a high bar squat. Start looking at what other counter-indicated exercises you're doing for your shoulders. Again, start looking more closely at the rest of your training. Things like shoulder pain, it's not limited to just because I'm benching a certain way. There's a lot of factors that contribute. Everything from other exercises you do to total training volume and load on the bench press. Make sure that you're doing your face pulls. Make sure that you're doing various shoulder health exercises. Right? Keep your shoulders healthy. That's what we need to do here. All right, next question. Hey Jason, I have been getting knee pain when I run, jump, or do single leg exercises and sometimes on the bodyweight squat, but never heavy squats. I went to a physical therapist and they said it might be because I am going below parallel. I know you and other lifters have said that doing partial squats is what usually causes knee pain. What are your thoughts on what the PT is saying? Thanks. Well, what in the hell does your squat have to do with the pain when it's not the squats giving you knee pain? So my question would be, what exactly did you tell this physical therapist? Because if you told them that you don't get any pain on heavy squats, but you're getting pain doing this other stuff, in what world did he reply that your heavy squats are the issue when we know that heavy squats done correctly do not generally contribute to knee pain? So you might want to rethink what exactly you told this physical therapist, because he can only go off of what you tell him. Now, I can tell you right now, if you're getting pain running and jumping in your knees, you probably have weak hamstrings. Okay, you have weak hamstrings. Start looking and assessing your strength. Look at your quad versus hamstring strength. You could be quad dominant, because I don't see you talking about anything for your hamstrings in here. You're talking about knee pain, but the only things you're listing are single leg exercises, running, jumping, bodyweight squats, and heavy squats. Well, why are you doing bodyweight squats? That's another question I would have. You have access to a barbell and you're trying to get stronger. And you've been a long-term poster in these comments. You've asked a lot of questions in Q&A over the years. Why are you messing with bodyweight squats? What possible benefit is it that you think that you could get from them right now? What possible benefit? I get it that if you're at home right now and you don't have access to a barbell, but you just said heavy squats. Are you doing bodyweight squats? All right. Knee pain, running and jumping. You need to get yourself over to the box squat. Okay, box squat for athletes. If you run and jump, you're an athlete of some type because you're subjecting your body to the same stresses an athlete does. Well, what do field athletes who run and jump, what do the best strength and conditioning coaches have them do? Tons of hamstring work. Tons of hamstring work. You need to get your hamstrings up to speed. Good mornings, glute ham raises. Leg curls if that's what you have to do. Find a way to make makeshift leg curls. But you need to be doing a lot more posterior chain work if you're getting knee pain when you run and jump. Now, some single leg exercises can contribute. If you're getting knee pain from single leg exercises, you probably need to cut them out until you get your posterior chain caught up. That's what I would recommend. Okay, that's what I would recommend. But you did not give me very much details on what your training looks like there. But it sounds like weak hamstrings. Sounds like weak hamstrings. And that's the other thing. Are you in shape? Do you have strong hamstrings? Have you been training your hamstrings? Or do you have good muscular balance? If not, you shouldn't be doing things like running and jumping. That's for really fit people with good muscular balance. That's for people who train their hamstrings. So that's what you need to be doing. You need to quit running and jumping till you fix your muscle imbalances. Right? That's what you need to do. And I would start by doing tons and tons of good mornings. That's usually the first easy solution. All right, next question. Hey coach, when running conjugate, how often do you switch out accessory lifts? Do you keep them in for a certain number of weeks or change them out if you don't progress on them for a week or two? Thanks. There's actually several schools of thought on this. I would argue that particularly if you have access to all the equipment to do it, I would argue that you should push them as long as you can progress on them. Now, sometimes you're going to have a supplemental lift that you can't take out, that you need, and you're not strong enough to change to a variation. Right? You might be trying to do glute ham raises, and you're not strong enough to add plates, bands, or chains. Because that would be switching the exercise, by the way. But generally speaking, you should try to be progressing, at least using fractional plates or something, all the time. Right? That's the direction we want to go. I mean, in an ideal world. And you see me doing more and more of that these days in my own training. Right? That's one method to do it, push them until they stall. Another method, and this is oftentimes used by some of the West Side guys, 3-week blocks, right? We run everything in 3-week blocks. We're dealing with the biological law of accommodation. Speed work is done in 3-week waves, and you change bars or change contrast, right? Unless you're very limited on your equipment. All right, 3-week waves. Even for you take novices, if you have them max out on the same lift on this, because that's how novices oftentimes do on conjugate when they put them on it. A lot of people are unaware of that conjugate coaches put novices on it. What do you have them do? You don't let them max out on the same lift more than 3 weeks in a row. So using that same logic with 3-week blocks, you can push a single lift hard for 3 weeks as a supplemental lift, and then you can rotate it out for another one. And again, this is very equipment limited. It's going to be limited by what equipment you have available. But I would always suggest to people you need to be acquiring more stuff, even if it's stuff you can take to the gym so you can do these different things. Bench blocks, bands. Those are things you can take to the gym. But what do I mean by changing something? Well, you could go from a closed grip press to a floor press. Okay? You can change it over to an incline if you had to. Or how about you go to dumbbells? How about you add a one board to the close grip? Right? You can get a bench block and add a one board, carry it in your gym bag. I'll give you 4 different exercises you can do in the same slot. Did each one for 3 weeks, that's a 12-week cycle. That's supplemental lift, right? So it depends on what you want to do. The 3-week block method works quite well. Works quite well for loose programming. For an individual person, though, I would say you could push it as long as you can progress on it. And then when you can't progress anymore, then you swap it out. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.